right. It's July 26, 2023, and it's 6:35 p.m. This is the Pool Committee, Subcommittee of the Recreation and Parks Committee. In attendance is Abra, Kelly, Gina, James, and myself, Councilperson Camera. I don't know why I did my last name, but all your first names, but whatever.
We're on first name here.
Yeah.
Because everybody knows me by my first name.
This is not as formal as a regular meeting, so. And then Cassie is not here tonight, but she will be at future meetings, so. All right, so I really kind of wanted to start by showing the presentation from MKSK that they gave us the first time. Mm-hmm. But our emails only save for so long, and I don't have a copy of it, and I'm hoping someone in the village whose email does save, like Tiffany or Barb, will have a copy of it. But so they in a nutshell, they did a very extensive presentation that showed all the pools that they've done. They compared our pool to the pools that they've done, surface area wise. Believe it or not, so they just count the square feet of the surface area of the pool when they're calculating square foot of a pool. It's not the volume the pool holds, it's just the surface area of a pool. So when you're looking at the blue things on the bottom here, that is the surface area, it's not the depth of the pool as well. Our pool size was, I believe, about 1.3 acres, which was pretty comparable to a lot of other pools that they've done. Athens pool, I think, was one of the closer ones. I think theirs is 1.8, ours is 1.3. And they have a pretty decent sized pool. I would compare their pool very much to these plans that they gave us.
Athens' current pool?
Current, yes. Mm-hmm. Yep. They've done City of Dublin. They've done several for Columbus. City of Columbus. As a matter of fact, they've done at least 3, if I remember correctly. Hilliard, Delaware, maybe Marysville was one of them too. They ranged low end from about $4 million up to Dublin's was about $11 million. But it was also pretty extensive. They had a lot of stonework, and they actually have a high dive at their pool. I believe theirs was the one that had it.
I think they did Bexley. They said they did Bexley and either Granville or Grandview.
Yeah, I think those were them as well. So then they compared the cost of those pools to the current value of what it would cost to build the same pool. Again, ours kind of looking at surface area, I kind of did go off of Athens pool, which was in today's equivalent about $7 million, which is the price they presented us, 7.2. So, I mean, I think that's kind of what I felt like they were going to come back with when they gave us the prices. We also went in with kind of our full wish list of these are the things that we would like, knowing that we might not be able to get everything. But you start with the luxury model and then you work your way down, right? And we kind of go from there. It seems the village probably, like our debt limit right now to take out a loan is probably close to $3.5 million. So we will have to be creative with some stuff. With how we pay for some stuff. However, I'll tell you right away, one of the things that we've talked about, and it's a suggestion from our engineering firm, is that the parking lot gets put in with the Valley Road repavement project because it's a lot cheaper for us to use a paving company that does roads than to have a pool contractor do it. And we can pull it out of the streets fund instead of a pool fund. So it would come out of a different fund. If you look at the totals sheet, is ours not here? Oh, yeah, it's not now. The 7.2 does include the parking lot, which I believe was about 600,000. Is that right?
Yeah, 600. Well, the asphalt parking lot is 310 with the curbs, drain, all of that.
I think the question was asked, right? Is it better to do this in pieces, and I think the thought was you're going to pay more money for it if you do it in pieces as opposed to doing it as one project. So I think that kind of brings us to tonight where we kind of look at what they presented. We can kind of talk about what we like, what we don't like, You know, I think there are pieces in here, and I'll just give you an example. Like maybe, well, I would say site furnishings, that whole 30, 31, 32. Chase lounges, obviously we've been buying those over the last, and I believe we'll still plan to do that. So we currently have 86, and we did not spend $1,500 each on them. Ours are about 170-ish, 80-ish. They're slowly going up in price. But cafe tables and chairs, we might need something like that, although we have regular chairs. You know, things like recycling cans, all that type of stuff. Those are things that we can purchase over time. You know, do we replace the entire fence around the pool? I think that's $138,000 in here. Obviously, some of it would have to be replaced, but you know, again, some things that can be put out over time.
I think some of the landscaping,
Yeah. Yep.
you know, a lot of that, you know, the shade trees, the accent trees, this and that,
Yeah.
like all around here with all those trees, personally.
Yeah.
I
don't
personally think that the tree, no need for that many trees, no need for that many trees that close.
Yep.
It's just gonna lead to more crap in the pool.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Plus, trees could also possibly come out of a separate budget, especially if we're looking at. Now, there's a lot of trees on some of these plans.
Yeah,
I mean, if
there
we're looking
really
at
is.
this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12,
But a lot of those trees can be donated
16,
too.
So
17 trees.
there isn't any sort of irrigation system now, is there?
There isn't, nope.
Is there any reason for an irrigation system with trees that are
I don't
already
think
there?
I don't think there is, unless, no, I don't know that there's a need for it. The only place I would say might be a possibility is if there's any flower beds, if you'd want to put them in there, but again, I think there's other options.
We can.
I was gonna say,
You
John
know?
does a good job watering.
Yeah.
We get sprinklers
Yeah.
and put it
Yeah,
in
you
the
can
morning
get
for
sprinklers
the
and
pool,
things like
because-
that. Even things like they didn't put it in here, but even like concession stand stuff, I think some of that can just come out of the operating fund for the pool
Yeah.
and doesn't need to necessarily be in a plan here.
So on these plans, on this green space that is here, the small and then over here, is this grass or is this astroturf?
Which
It's
two
grass.
drawings
It's all
are you talking
grass.
about?
So on option 3, between the bathhouse and the baby pool,
Yeah.
and then on this option 2 where it has the
Yeah.
shade sails, if that's true grass, I wonder.
That's this turf, this topsoil planting bed zone turf grass
Turf grass.
seeded, and then the turf topsoil for the turf grass is another.
Okay.
So you're looking at 13,000 for
I think
13,000 for the soil, and then another. What is that? Another shoot. Am I seeing this right? 78,000 for that's 100,000 for just
Yeah.
that turf and the soil.
Yep. Which I'm not sure if we need sod, and if we can't
don't-
just seed it.
Yeah.
So we would have
Yeah.
to have sod.
Yep. So
Correct
I mean,
me
I
if I'm
think
wrong, they're talking about 11,000 square yards of
that's a lot.
sod.
That's a lot.
But
I
we're
don't
not
even
digging
know.
up that. But we're not digging up that much that would need it to be replaced, are we?
I don't think we are. And there's not much grass in these plans once you get the pool in it.
Right.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's 158. And like mulch and things like that, all that would come out of a different budget. So, although mulch is only $900.
So does having grass cut down the cost of the concrete because concrete's more expensive, or
Well, he had said that. He had mentioned that. You know, that we could cut out some of these areas, like in what is it, number 2, like a lot of that side where over there by the event building and the bathhouse. He said you could cut out some of that you know, cement or concrete there. I think that one had the most. My question also was that I like this one with the lawn in the middle
Yeah.
there. I thought that would be more.
That's which option? Sorry. 2. two?
Two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two.
So,
Like that middle lawn area right there, I think would be more cost effective in
Yeah,
having
because of-
grass there.
Exactly, because concrete's
All
gonna
that
cost
concrete, right.
money.
so where one continuous pool might be cool looking, I think the logistics of it, one pool is tough because if there's any type of contaminant accident
you have
in
to
there,
shut the whole
the
thing down.
entire thing gets shut
Yeah.
down.
Yeah, I think you need separate.
We don't have
pools.
any backups. Everyone's out until the whole system has whatever our cycle time is to turn all the water around. Is how long people would have to be out of that water.
I think having two
So
are separated, like in these two.
yep. The other thing is when I went down to Athens and I talked to that director that's over their parks and whatnot. She said that these here, because this looks very similar to Athens Pool. They have the same thing. It's just flipped around. She said the kids like this area and they like to jump off and climb out and jump off and climb out here, and so they have to put guards on both sides of this in order to see them. Because of the depth of it, how far down the water is from the top of the pool. And it gets pretty deep through here because you're going from 12 feet to 6.5 feet. So it's actually pretty deep water. That was the other thing about that pool is that it takes 10 lifeguards to run that pool.
We don't have to.
On the flip side, the benefit of that is having less pumps.
Yes.
But I'm not for the one pool thing.
But with Athens having all of these, they had 4 pumps to run everything. That included their baby pool. Whereas our baby pool already has a pump house
Okay.
for it, so we don't need it. But that was their splash pad, their baby pool, their family pool. They have a separate, their slide went to its own exit, like it doesn't go into the pool. Like it just stops and then you climb out of it.
Yeah.
And then they have the diving well in the lap pool. So I mean, I think staffing it is a concern to talk.
Yeah. For sure.
But you don't have to. We currently don't have lifeguards at the baby pool. We would not have to have lifeguards at a splash pad, but we definitely need them for slides and family pool and whatnot. I will also say that at Athens, they did not put a guard at the top. They used a concession worker at the top. So, because
Yeah,
you don't need a
yeah,
lifeguard
you
at the
just
top,
give
you
the
only
signal,
need it
go
at the
ahead and
bottom. So that could be something. So to me, this one is kind of out of the picture just because of that one
Yeah, I
continuous
don't-
pool, unless we go with the option of just getting rid of that.
Well, that would be the same as doing
Which
here,
is like
right?
2, isn't
Which
it?
is like, yeah.
Or
Something that the police officers brought up was if we had the slides over here, it is window height to people's homes over here, and that might not be a good idea.
Well, this
So
one is
having
too.
I think in
That
this
one is
option,
too. Well, this one faces over
but
here.
Yeah.
it's a little
Yeah.
further away.
It's a further away.
and we have those tall trees that are in the way over here.
Yeah.
So
On the metalwork, with the fencing,
Nope.
it's got the metal picket fencing 7 feet high.
yep,
And
which is
then-
higher than what we currently have.
Then the perimeter security fencing is 7 feet high, chain link. So what is that? Why do we have 2 7-foot
So
fencings?
the one is, well, looking at the notes to the right, one says replace perimeter with a black vinyl coated chain link with mesh screening. So currently we have that black screening up. I think they're thinking about that we would replace the whole thing.
Okay,
And
but then
then the
Amstar
Amistar,
Steel Montage Plus.
I believe, which one's 2?
This one. Are you talking about?
I think that
oh,
is
that's
for
this little area.
the area where the food trucks are at. Because I also saw that there's like a
Oh.
key fob to open the gate and, but I don't see where that's at
I don't
now.
know that we need that.
Oh,
I mean,
there
I
it is.
guess, I guess they're showing that to keep for rental, like off season, so that you aren't going into the pool
Right.
area.
Yeah, I think it's to keep it out. So the food truck thing was kind of a, you know, we've been having food trucks in the neighborhood. You know, could we set something up where they have access to things at the pool, like an electrical hookup or water line if they want to do something? That was kind of the thought behind it, but I don't know if it was really for events at the pool. However, if you have an event that you wanted a food truck, this is really the only option where the food truck is near
Well, that's true.
the
'cause
event
it's open.
space,
But you couldn't put that over here.
probably.
Yeah, you could.
Isn't that the
I
same?
thought you were gonna cut out everything so we
I
could
wanted
play
to,
with
but
it.
we couldn't. I couldn't.
I was-
You have to use a code for this copier.
Yeah, I was gonna.
Oh.
And I don't know the code, so.
I
Why
don't know
didn't you
the
tell
code.
me I would've
Um,
done these?
But not that we can't cut one of these. But, 'cause
The other
can
question I
put a new one.
had last time that I didn't get across clearly to them was the difference in
Mm-hmm.
cost between these two being together and then those two being separate.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know.
I think having them together would be a reducing cost.
Yeah,
Right.
Because you're gonna reduce your footprint with
Right.
frames and.
Yeah, that's,
Right.
I was just wondering
Yeah.
how much more cost efficient that would be. I mean, you'd be sharing,
Yeah.
potentially sharing, panels.
Right, electrical
Yeah.
All of
panels.
that.
Yeah.
Plumbing is, you got plumbing one building, not two buildings.
Correct.
We would already have plumbing coming into
The current
the,
Session.
yeah, from there, we've already got plumbing coming there anyway.
Yep.
So that would, we could trim a little bit there.
I did ask them. I said, "Can you kind of give us an idea of what they would look like inside these buildings?" And they said, "Well, we're not architects. We're just the engineering part of it. That would be the next phase, where they would actually kind of lay out what's inside the buildings." What I'm afraid of is that the event building with restrooms and a kitchen might be a little on the small side. Like there wouldn't be much room left over after you put in restrooms and a kitchen in it to have an event.
But you can. But you
They
can put
didn't
in
give
a
us the-
small
I feel like, well,
kitchen.
if you did this bathhouse office together with the two
The
buildings together.
restrooms could possibly.
We could use it, yeah, if you put the restrooms here in the corner.
But I
I
think
can't
Abra had a
design
good
it, but-
point. You don't want, if you're having two events if you're having an event at the same time the pool is open, you don't necessarily want to share restrooms with
Right.
wet people from the pool.
But 9 times out of 10, I could be wrong. I would say you're probably doing some sort of pool. You're
I know, I
probably
would
incorporating
think
the
that
pool
if you're
into
having-
what you're
yeah,
doing.
Yeah.
Yes,
Your
there's
event at
potential to
the
have bridal showers or showers of that sort.
Absolutely.
We could always
yeah.
give like a heads up, like this is this.
Yeah.
This is a
Or, but I would say, yeah,
I mean, the bottom line is however that bathroom is gonna be built, it has to be pretty and also durable so that drippy wet people can go in and not
right.
Correct.
Yeah.
destroy it, which is
And the other thing too, could we put in this pool equipment building, could there be another set of bathrooms in there that if you are having an event, you can close it and these bathrooms could be used for a pool?
There probably
You know what?
could be something in here. The equipment,
I don't know what that
Um,
consists of though.
the equipment doesn't take up a huge amount of space. But they are, it's funny because we currently have 5 pumps, right, on our pool, or 5 filters. Again, just seeing the Athens one is the only one I've seen. They only had 4 for the whole thing. And so basically it was 1 per pool.
And didn't you say they were sunken, like on the second level?
So it is a it is a 2-story building. There's actually a basement in it.
So
a
that,
downstairs, so
could we
the
utilize the first floor then?
no, well that's where the pumps are, but the filters. I'm sorry, the filters are on the first floor. The pumps are down
Oh,
below,
okay.
because that's how because they're below the water level. You just open the valve to prime the
Yeah.
pumps.
So it's easy.
Westville only has the 2 bathrooms.
What do theirs look like? Are they? It's just a men's and women's bathroom. Is it like several
They have,
stalls?
well, they
or-
have one, I I think the one bathroom only has, it's got a family, and then it's got, I think on the women's side, it just has 2 stalls, and then
Okay.
the other one, it has 4 stalls. It does have like a shower, changing area, that whole thing off, like
Okay.
a regular
Yeah.
gym.
Yeah.
It's got 3 sinks. 3 sinks in one, 2 sinks in the other. A locker bank, but it's for nothing fancy in the bathrooms at all.
Yeah,
Concrete.
yep. That's what I saw at Athens too. It was basically concrete.
Mm-hmm.
No, they were in like cinder block walls for the showers and
Yeah, there was
changing
nothing,
stall.
yeah.
There was a
Minimal.
changing stall. There might have been 2 and a shower.
So they have their bathrooms in their with their concession stand
Okay.
Which pool?
at
Highlands?
Highlands. So the concession stand
bathrooms-
is right next to it, and then there's bathrooms at the far end.
At the
by,
far end by the entrance.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
So they
there's
have 2 sets,
2
of
sets.
restrooms. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, if my thought is, if we're going to use this event building and have this like a patio at the side and stuff like that, I think we do need to have them separated. That way, you can have your 2 sets of bathrooms, unless they can put a set of bathrooms here and then a set of bathrooms off the concession stand here. That's just access from the event space. That way you don't have to worry about soggy, wet floors and stuff.
Right. Well, I think that's what you were saying, right?
Yeah.
They just need to be separate.
Right.
But
I
they
mean,
can be.
It doesn't have to be. I just
But
want
they
to
can
make
share
sure
the
that
same
we.
wall. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Yeah.
so
Access that you can access.
So you,
you can have
or there's
to be
access
blocked
from,
off.
Yeah.
or there's
Yeah.
access from 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which again is fine. I just want to make sure that we are thoughtful about using this as an event center because I mean I firmly believe that this is going to be utilized more than the community
I do
building
too. I do too.
for events
Especially
I do too.
because of
because
this.
there's a parking lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
And I
there's
just
a
want to be
parking lot.
thoughtful about how we manage the bathroom situation
Yeah.
because the bathrooms now are gross
Oh,
because we go
absolutely.
in dripping wet
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah. No, they're absolutely gross.
So, I mean, I like the idea of having 2 separate buildings. I also like the idea of having the food trucks
Like this.
closer to the buildings.
I like this plan. I just like the pool. I like the family pool better turned. I don't know why.
I'd like the one. I mean, I just think cost wise too. I'd like the one building with the idea that you can close off. That
Yeah.
separate. I think if we do something like that, like James had said, pulling your
Yeah.
food trucks over or the entrance over here, flipping that.
Yeah. I think maybe, for me, I have a hard time seeing how we would connect bathrooms and stuff like that. I think maybe if this was longer and it was more of an L-shaped building, then I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
see that a little better. Like, to me, that makes a little more sense
yeah.
for,
Is this just the entrance to the building? Is that what this
yeah,
is?
that's
Looks
what,
like
that's
it,
an
yeah.
entrance, yeah.
Yeah.
Because
And then this
it's
is the
just a-
entrance to the pool.
correct,
Right.
yeah. And honestly, this to me makes more, like,
That could
Yeah,
be pulled
even
up.
if-
Not
Yeah,
extend
that's a
it.
good
even if the restrooms were back in here, right, you could still have a
Yeah.
set of restrooms. You could even have
Yeah.
a kitchen or something that, I don't know.
My thought is that for the event building, if we have it as one unit rather than 2, if we're closing this off completely, if we're not using it that day, I don't want it to appear that was not needed. I feel like if you have them connected, it gives you more of the
Oh, I
sense
see
that
what you're
it's,
saying.
we're
Oh,
using,
yeah.
we're using,
using
the
the
space.
space.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I
Well,
see
that
what
makes
you're
good
saying.
sense, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Is the kitchen, is the idea of the kitchen and the concession space 2 separate things?
The
Or
thought
will
was,
the concession be utilizing the, let me spit out my words because I can't put
Yeah.
them together. Utilizing the kitchen.
I think we have to I think we need to run that by the, food people. Who am I talking about?
The health
Health
Health department, thank you. Because if it's a shared space, does that affect any food license? that we would have.
You're talking
I
about
likely.
imagine, yeah, I
think
imagine
so.
we can have shared items in it, like maybe shared freezer space or something like that, but there'd have to be some separation between the two.
if you're from a health department standpoint, if you're cooking and feeding, you can't have, say, Abra come over, cook in the same kitchen
No,
and feed. That is that what you're asking?
no, it's
Similar.
No, you are-
Sort of. I'm basically, again, kind of going on what Gina was saying is, if we're building it, are we going to utilize it?
Right.
Will the concessions be partially based out of this kitchen that we're building?
right.
So if there's an event, so let's say, the concessions, we get the health department to allow us to have like a full, we can serve burgers and fries, and have that and having to utilize the kitchen. But then if somebody else comes in and wants to have an event,
Right,
how does that
right,
work? How does it work?
right. Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think we
Yeah.
need to ask the health department what we can do and what we can't do with that. Because I think that otherwise there's no point of having a full kitchen for the event space if we can't,
Share it.
yeah, if it can't be
It
shared.
can't be shared.
Yeah, because we don't want to double up on equipment. That just seems a little
Right.
silly. But we do. I think the thought is we want to upgrade our concession stand to be
Right.
able to have that level 3 license where we're cooking food, and what that looks like. I don't know. It could be as simple as heating up pizzas or a pizza oven. It could mean burgers and fries, hot dogs, things like that. It's going to be concession food. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Chicken nuggets.
Yeah, probably. I showed, I happened to go by the pool the other morning, and one of the coaches that rents our pool for practice was there. And I have these in the car, and I showed it to him, and because he was like, how long of a pool are you looking at for the lap pool? I said, I don't know. But it says it's 25 yards, which he said that's exactly what you need.
Yeah.
It's not, ours is not quite that. He said 50's better, but the MKSK has already said that we're going to spend a fortune conditioning that water in a 50-meter pool. But why he said it's better is that there's over 2,000, that's an Olympic-sized pool, there's over 2,000 Olympic swimming athletes in the state of Ohio. And in Columbus, there's only 3 pools that meet that criteria.
I was just thinking, I was just going to say, I don't even know
Yeah.
what pools that would be.
Yeah,
but
I think it's Hilliard, Gahanna, and I forget what the third one was. There's one in Delaware, there's
Yeah.
one in Marysville, but they won't let them rent that. Because I asked, I said, do you think this would work for competitions? And he said, absolutely. I kind of said, well, when do they typically meet? He said, it's usually Tuesday and Wednesday nights, and when competitions are. They'll practice at the pool, but that would mean that the lap part of it could potentially be not available on Tuesday and Wednesday nights, but we'd have that income, which would help offset costs at the pool. He also said that with the parents just being there for 3 hours
Yes.
watching their kids, he said a concession stand can easily do $5,000 with the business.
Yeah,
in just one night.
great. I've been at Highlands when they've been there for meets, and
Yeah.
it is incredibly.
Yep.
And they do the same. They Highlands has the same. They've got the family pool and the slides and all that, and
Yeah.
they have that area, and we keep open for the rest of it.
Right.
But
I guess one of the questions is, do you think members would be upset about that? I mean, I think we'd always
Think
get
if we're
upset members, but
Making money. And,
we're
that
giving
they
them
would-
another option. We're not closing the pool. down.
Right,
Yeah.
they would still have all of this space,
Yeah.
and I think that
and I
it
think
might be an adjustment, but people would adjust.
if you took this and flip it so that the dive pool is closer, and you can block that off, and then
No.
all this would be competition.
yeah,
I think you'll be fine, because if they're doing it this way, you're
People might feel cut off from
Yeah.
the dive pool too.
and
Yeah.
you can't use a dive pool.
right. And I have no problem with that. I think that's a good idea to kind of turn that whole thing around.
Yeah.
That puts your,
Just
because
like
kids like to dive. I mean,
They
there's
do.
that little,
They
there's
They
that
do.
little 2 or 3 year old that jumps off it all the
Yeah.
time with his little
I
floaties.
know.
I'm very impressed with them. But that puts not the splash pad. Well, it depends which one you're looking at, but that puts the baby pool and the dive pool and potentially the splash pad
All together.
all in proximity of each other. So if you're a parent, they're pretty close.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Um,
And
I
you
wish
said
we had
you like,
access
you
to
said you
this.
like the pool facing the parking lot, or you like
No,
this
I like
one? Yeah,
this
I like
one.
This
too.
one
just Yeah. looks-
That's what I like
yeah.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I do like
this
the
plan.
I do like this
But
lawn
I want
area,
this line in here.
and I
Yeah,
like
want
the
lawn,
thought.
yeah, I like the
of,
lawn area there.
You know, we have not used them, but we've had those
sorry,
shuffleboard courts and stuff like that. There has been conversation about bringing them back, but there's also been a conversation about a bocce court, and that lawn area, I think, might be a good spot to put something like that. Put the Connect Four, put some cornhole
Yeah,
games,
some more
things
lawn,
like that.
Some more lawn games. Would be great.
That would
think we-
definitely satisfy the need, like the need for the families, you know. You could literally have the kids playing there, you've got your splash pads, they got the baby pool, you'd have your, you know, the dive thing, they could watch kids at dive board, they have them on the slides. You'd be all,
Yeah, just
yeah, you're all in the same area.
I think it makes just a good little spot. The
The only-
thing that I feel like we miss at our pool right now is that when the kids get out, there's not much for them to do. You know, obviously the concession stand gets really busy, which I don't
Right.
mind.
Right.
Right.
But you know, there's not much for them to do. And I mean, both of you have smaller kids. I feel like there comes a point in the time of day where they're just kind of done with getting in and out of the pool, and you can only keep them there so long.
Not
no?
my kid.
I was like, say,
No, you guys have to. You have.
Not my kid.
they want to stay
They
there
wanna stay.
You want to? Okay, that's great.
forever. But I think that having more games and stuff for them to
Options,
do when they are supposed to be out would be great. And yeah, not every kid likes to swim as much as
As much as
as
ours.
much as ours do.
That's true.
And
I can tell you
think that
at
would
the
be-
Westerville pool, but they don't allow kids in, period. There is no, I don't think they let, I know there's no kids allowed in a baby pool at all.
During rest period. Okay.
So they do utilize their splash pads.
Yeah.
They have 2 of them.
Yeah. Oh, they have 2. Yeah.
One's a real small, actually, in all honesty, there's more kids on the small one
Uh huh.
than there are on the bigger one, because the small one is right by the kids' pool, right where families tend to set up their
Yeah.
camp at, right
Yeah.
around there. So they use the little one. There's another larger one over by,
Yeah.
like the other side. There's not very, and if they are, they're like middle school age
Yeah.
kids, just or whatever.
I don't know if it has to
elementary
be
kids.
very big if you have the right things in the
In it,
splash
right.
pad, right? Like,
As long as it's spraying water and you can cover up a hole and make the other hole higher, they're happy.
Yeah.
They're totally happy.
yeah. Like, I don't know that we need like a bucket that dumps water on people
No.
or something like
said-
that, but
And at Highlands, the one that they don't use does have some sort of like squirt gun, some kind of squirt
Cannon.
cannon
Yeah.
thing,
yeah.
and you don't see kids over there often. So they're just
I've
stomping
seen.
on holes.
I have a couple pool magazines. A couple of them show things like little slides, like tiny like slides, like a foot and a half off the ground, where they're pretty wide and
Yeah.
get wet, and a couple other things that just kind of squirt water out of them, which I think could work.
What size splash pad are we looking at?
So it says it doesn't it says on here.
Well,
I just
that
looked at
is
it.
quoted on option 2. So this is option.
That's right here.
So it's a
No.
small one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a smaller one that kind of goes abuts the lawn,
So that's
as
fair.
opposed to option 3 where it's this big round thing.
Yeah, I don't think.
I
we need
think,
that.
I mean, the splash pad in option 3 is 990 square feet.
Yeah.
That's
Huge.
big.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's an apartment.
What was
Yeah.
the one-on-one though?
They're at the bottom.
The splash pad
No,
on
this is option 3.
2.
That's option 1.
on option 2 is 330,
So
Yeah.
it's
So
a
that's
third
what
of the
crazy.
size, right?
and option 1 is about the same. It's 345.
Yeah, I think it's the
So-
same, I think it's the same
I
size.
think that would be big enough.
I think it's big
45.
enough, especially if you're going to have games and whatnot. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
I'm-
couple feet bigger.
I think that's what I was
Probably
trying to
take a
say. I
little
think that
longer,
option
so.
there and being close proximity to everything.
I still just want to take an effect that we still need these stairs on this lap pool
Yep.
for people to go up and down.
Emily has already said she
Oh, yeah.
can't get into a zero entry pool. She has to have
Well, I'm sure
steps
She
that we,
or
can't?
cannot.
Yeah.
She has to have a railing
A
or something
rail.
like that to hold on to.
Oh.
So, with that said,
Mhm.
do we need to have? Never mind, because I just saw my own answer.
Did you?
Well, I
did.
was thinking
I was
if-
just making sure that we have
Oh,
steps on
steps,
both,
yeah.
and we do. So I just ignored my.
Well, and one of the things that MKSK was talking about, we do not have swimming lessons. However, pools that have swimming lessons, John is not in favor of swimming lessons. So
we've always had.
However, there was a lady today, I think she was talking to JP, said that she used to teach swimming lessons, and if we had availability to do that, she knows several people that would be able to
yeah,
offer
I
that.
think right now the thought has been that there are many places right now that you can get them from. There's the new place in Westerville, New Albany, the YMCA.
But we did them through the YMCA.
And they're all waitlisted.
Are they?
Right.
I
Okay.
can't get my kid
We
into
fill
some
up-
lessons.
They fill up
We
really
that's-
used
quickly.
to have the YMCA come into our pool. That's
Did
how.
they?
That's who
Yeah.
did them.
I think that's
Wasn't it?
another
I think it
revenue.
I don't know.
Okay.
That's who my kids. I think I'm pretty sure it was through the Y that they came in and did the swim
I mean,
lessons for my boys.
Because
I
I
think
can't
it would-
get Zevin to a swim lesson.
I think it would come down to.
It's expensive. So there's like
If we-
tiny tot places.
I
or
mean,
upper
council
top.
makes the
Orthodox is the
decision
only place
basically.
that-
So if we say we're
No,
offering it,
it's
we're offering it.
Outrageous.
Well, I think it would be a good benefit for the community, especially because we have
So many
families.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah. So the steps are good in this area because you put your kids that aren't actually working with a swim coach. You let them sit on the steps while you're working with them in the pool. Is what MKSK was telling us.
You could still do
Yeah,
that
I
in
definitely
high
like
school.
how that goes into that and not straight into the.
Well, this is
Because he was saying too with the family pool that
3
you're
feet
losing
deep.
all
That's
the
going to be
space.
5 to 6.5 to something feet deep. This is a deeper pool.
But that option there is not on any of these.
It's on this one. It's on that one.
But this has the slides here.
It's on that
The
one.
sides are
It
there
would be
too.
the same there.
The sides are there too.
Yeah, right here.
Oh.
Sides.
Oh, sorry. I see what you're
Gosh, show
saying.
me both. We need glasses.
We need glasses.
Okay.
But okay, I see what you're saying now. So is there a chance that we could go look at other pools?
Yeah,
just
that's
to,
what I need to figure out. That's what I need to figure out. I think that what I would like to try to do is see if maybe a Saturday morning before the pool opens, if we can go get some tours of them, because I'd like y'all to be able to see like
I would like to do that.
the pump house buildings and things like that,
No,
to kind of
that-
see what's
That would
different
be great.
than what we have.
Seeing it here is very
Yeah.
different than
Right.
Yep.
than walking around.
Plus, I think it helps to get ideas on what we like, concession stand wise and whatnot. Again, the Athens is the only one I've seen that they've built. Some things that they had at it. So, they in their pump house building there is an exterior. There was an exterior door that they had. What, Jane? Because there is a room that they had to wear a hazmat suit because of the chemicals for the pool, which connected to
What? Hazmat suit.
there's a certain
all the-
chemical that is added to the pool. They had saline solutions. So what's nice about this one? Do they all have one? Do they all have access? Yeah, they all have access, which is good. So they basically had a dock like a garage door entrance because they got pallet loads of salt, like what you'd use for a
Like the
saltwater
chlorine
tank.
tablets or saltwater.
Yeah.
Like in your house, a hard water tank kind of thing. because during the busiest days of the summer, the chlorinator couldn't keep up, and they'd have to make their own chlorine, and they use the salt
yeah.
to make the chlorine. And
Yeah, my
and
sister has salt.
our
Just
pool
salt
guy,
liquid.
Patterson Pools, is the one that set it up, so they know how to do it. They also, in this building, had, their concession stand was actually in their pump house building, and they had a lifeguard station in it, which was right next door. Their lifeguard station was air conditioned space for their lifeguards to cool off in, and it had its own restroom in it as well, which I thought was interesting. It was also first aid.
Oh, that's
so
a
if
good thing
That's
too.
nice.
someone hurt
Yeah.
themselves,
Yeah,
one
that'd
of the
be okay.
lifeguards would take care of them.
Oh, that's a good point to add to this.
Their community, they had an event space. It was not much bigger than this room. Their whole thing, there was no kitchen. It did have access to their splash pad. It also had a restroom in it, but it was just a single toilet kind of restroom. And then it had like a closet that they could store tables and chairs in for that space. But it had garage doors that opened. It was on the corner, so it had garage doors that opened on both sides. That opened it up.
That brings another good point, because you're talking about storage. In the wintertime, all these chairs and umbrellas and stuff, where would
So-
those be stored?
They use the restrooms, believe it or not, to store them all in. Because they're not using them.
Right.
We would, which makes another good argument for having separate restrooms for the event space, because
Oh, yeah.
we couldn't store stuff in there. Because what I see for the event space is that it's able to be used year
Year
round.
round, yes.
Great.
Because like I think, I don't speak for MPCA. I know a couple people involved with it, but this might be a nice spot if there was a carriage ride or a bus ride for,
Trolley.
this could be set up for that. This goes around, circular driveway. There's lots of parking here. I think a space like this is better than our community building for something like
Absolutely.
that. So, and could potentially bring in some extra revenue.
I agree.
Do we know what the square footage is of these buildings?
No. I think that was my question to NKSK, and they're like, well, it's going to end up coming down to your architect and how you want them to look, so.
But we should still, sorry,
Yeah,
we-
so
they
those
should still
numbers
have
are
an
just-
idea, so this isn't really
Right.
to
it's just
scale.
to scale.
No, it would be,
You could figure it
scale. We
out.
probably could,
So then if the dive pool
yeah.
is
what?
1150,
That's a little bigger than the eye pool, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe 30% bigger. Mm-hmm. So it's 1150 times 30 times 1.
I can't do that.
Trust me, I know. 1150. It'll be about 1,500 square feet.
space.
Well,
Yeah,
were we
that's what I'm
thinking
saying.
of extending it
Yeah,
to
that's
make
why I
it more
think if you
L-shaped too?
extend
Because
it
this is
down.
just open landscaping and like
Right.
sidewalk.
It's
I
not
really-
gonna make a
super
difference. If
useful.
you
Like,
flip
I
that wall
like
this
the
way or that way,
patio
you're still gonna have
space on
the
that.
patio.
Because
They're the
my
same
thought
materials.
is, that
You're literally
why
just
not?
flipping that.
I'm-
You're taking this wall to
like,
here,
why
and
can't
you're
we set a
taking this
band
wall
up
to
there
here.
or something like
Okay.
that?
You know
I
what
think
I
that would
mean?
be a fun space for
It's
something like
literally the
that.
same amount of materials. You're not saving any money by cutting that corner out.
See, because if we extended this to make
The
that
same,
L,
you're not, it's no more
actually make
materials
this bigger
whatsoever.
like this.
Not really.
Right,
right.
no.
And then
Literally
has
not,
that
you're just taking the short wall, and
service
pushing the
area
short
for
wall
the
the outside,
truck.
you're
Right,
taking the
putting it there,
long
taking that
wall,
one
taking
here.
the long
True.
wall out.
It's roof.
gaining-
It's roof and concrete
Gaining
floor.
more
yeah.
space.
it takes up some of this lawn, but
What were you saying? Oh, that.
so if we're gonna
Mm-hmm.
if we're gonna spend the money to make an event building, it should be bigger. So in addition to making closing off and making that L, this event building should come into the event lawn, because if we're gonna use it year round, we don't need a lawn
It's true.
necessarily, and we've got all of this lawn.
True.
Oh, that's true.
So if we were to make this, the event building bigger, that you could hold the restrooms, we could have the kitchen and still have the space, and then have the service area for the food trucks to be along this fence line opposite this track stadium. That gives us the event
Yeah.
area that we need.
You're combining this space
That's what she's
with
saying.
Yeah,
yeah,
with
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
But we still need to fit that patio in from the other, because the patio is,
I love that patio.
I love that patio.
Which, this one here?
This one.
Yeah, I don't know
I
why.
think this.
I do.
That?
Yeah, I
I
just
think
think
it's
it's
great.
cool.
This is
Yeah.
really nice.
Well, it'd be nice too if you're having an event and you can just go out
Have an
there.
event in the fall and be able to sit out on a patio or
Yeah,
whatever.
and
Yep.
then we'd have a fire pit or something out
Well,
here.
and again,
Which we
Now,
already
now you're
have.
getting
Now you're
fancy.
cooking.
again,
Yeah, we do already have
I
that.
did think about the current MPCA events that we have in this space, right? So let's just say it's raining for Sip and Dip. You don't have to cancel it because we have a building that we could, maybe you're not dipping, but
But
I
you're
don't
still
know if
sipping.
that's really the
you
point
can
of
say-
Sip
that's
and
the
Dip as
important
much
part.
as,
No, but
Yeah.
still.
yeah, you can still have things. Like even the night we rented the pool, it was like what happens if it rains?
So you shift it to a wine and dine. I mean, it's not a big,
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea. I love the idea of having a nice
do
event
too.
center with a parking lot. There's a pool, great. If not, then, if it's winter time, then great.
Right. Yeah, I think that event space would be utilized more than the community building.
Oh, yeah.
Right, so
And
now,
can,
like,
and I know that you're talking about taking this out here and then adding this to
The
that.
service area
right.
or something.
It looks like we have room here. Could this be shifted a
It
little
could.
bit so that you could have a little line? A little bit more of a line. Just
Shifted.
because it looks like there's more room over here too if we just shift it over just a little bit.
Are these new? These
Yeah,
These are new
those
trees.
Yeah.
Which would,
Yeah, but these are new trees.
Yes.
Yes.
Why would
Which
you put
don't-
trees near a pool makes
I
no
don't.
No,
sense
that
to
is
me.
just gonna
I don't
cause
want the
more.
trees
Right.
there.
If we're gonna put something, we'll put some shade structure up of some
Right.
kind.
Right.
We
rather
could
than-
get more of these
Yes.
Sales.
sales. We could just take what we have and move it over there or something.
I
Or you leave it
imagine,
open so people can enjoy the sun. And
I
people who
imagine
wanna sit in the shade can
these
sit over there.
things,
People that want to sit in the shade can stay home.
kidding.
I think these giant umbrellas are those giant umbrellas that are like
Yeah.
15 feet wide, kind of, maybe even bigger than that.
Well, and I was looking at the tables
Pitch
all through
tents.
there like that, same thing, we could always do like the shade sales. Shaded and
Yeah.
sales,
Yeah.
family
I
tables,
mean, you could
whatever.
leave it open and
Most-
do like a sleepover at the pool.
Ooh.
And people can pitch tents and sleep under the stars.
Okay.
Yeah, they could.
No, we could.
I mean, it'd
We
be a
could.
fun kids event.
No, no,
would
it'd
be.
be, yeah.
It would be sleep
Yeah.
under the
Chaperone.
stars.
No.
If you could see
I
this.
mean, so
As long as there ain't no fucking trees.
So
you
the
can't.
question has been asked, why do we need a new pool? And I
Got
think
that on
that's
record,
definitely
sorry.
something that,
No.
I mean, I think for some people it's very obvious.
Yeah.
I know that the lifespan of our pool, we have done great with 60 some years of that pool. Normal lifespan is 50. You heard them say that the Hilliard one was built in 72, is that what it was? So theirs is 50
Yeah.
years old. It's still, they've done some repairs, but it's not, it sounds like it's going to last longer. What I'm afraid of is if we don't have a plan to replace it, it's gonna break.
We're gonna have to spend money repairing
Yeah.
this instead
It's
of
gonna be too
improving
expensive.
Correct.
Yeah.
it with new materials, new probably build techniques in some places that will last even longer.
And the
We-
biggest
And the other
thing
thing-
he said was, in doing this, you're gonna bring in more revenue.
Yeah.
We're definitely gonna see
Yeah.
more people come.
I mean, when
We-
you look at, I was thinking,
I
when you
mean,
really look
I
at.
already hear from people in our community that they go to Highlands. You know, their kids
I
want to
did
go
it,
to
I
Highlands.
did it for years, that's why, I was like,
And-
my kids don't wanna come here, there's nothing for them to do
Yeah.
in there.
The-
And all the friends are at Highlands.
We have to watch the price point, right? I don't think the goal here is to increase our membership prices, more than we've been doing, on our normal cadence of stuff. And I'm not even sure if we need to go up much. I mean, we probably could, people would probably pay it, but it is a community pool, so we are not funded like Highlands is funded through their Parks and Recreation Fund,
But we
we're
could look into
subsidized
getting
through that.
grants.
Yeah, and then also there's other neighborhoods like Strawberry Farms or
We
Northland,
actually,
or what is
Shiva Ridge and
Thank you.
Yeah.
yeah.
So we actually have a lot of members from our neighboring communities. Probably more than we have from our own community, to be honest with you. It's definitely some numbers I'm going to pull here as we kind of,
Yeah.
as memberships have settled down. Now I can go look at addresses and kind of get those figures so people can see them, because I think it's good to have those. We do advertise with the elementary schools that we have a pool, and so they get a flyer in their backpacks to take home. And I think that's where we got a lot of our memberships this year, because I see a lot of people from just south of us. Yeah, in that community that's between here and Morris, on both sides of Westerville Road, we have a lot of people that have joined this year from those two communities. So, and I know that they bus here for school. We see a bunch from Forest Park.
Yeah, that was.
We see a few from across 161. So
I definitely think we need a new one, and I think we need to have a planning price. Otherwise, if this breaks, it's going to cost just as much as a new pool to fix. So.
if we get a substantial crack in it, I don't
We're
know that
done.
we're gonna be able to repair it at a reasonable cost.
And not to mention, they may make us bring it up to code. So,
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
and then we're
Go back
not
to what
at
Damon
code.
said, I don't know who do we get to do the electrical and did we pull permits on it? And did we have the inspector come in and check the electrical? Because
So
we're not ADA
I
compliant.
can't tell you about previous work, but I do know that our current administration, we do follow the books, and you have to be a licensed. You
Right.
have to, like when we had that hot water tank put in and we had that sink put in, they had to apply through us for a permit, just
Yeah.
like anyone else would, and it was the same $150, $250, whatever we charge for it. They had to pay that, and that was part of our fees.
So question on that,
Yeah.
just so this is an outside question. When we as a village we pull permits for something like that, does it need to do we have it inspected?
Mhm.
Who inspects it?
Whoever,
Columbus
yeah.
or Springfield?
Yeah, if it goes, so all of our water permits go through Columbus. I'm not quite sure where the electrical go
I'm
through,
just
but
curious.
I would imagine that's who they go through. Yeah. But yeah, they inspect it.
Well, I saw a guy try. I mean, we hear Emily talk about it, but I saw a guy last weekend tried to get in a wheelchair to the bathroom.
In ours?
Yeah,
Oh,
he was
jeez.
just. I mean, he
Yeah,
tried to
there's
bounce.
no way.
He was
Yeah.
not.
Especially the men's room.
Yeah,
The men's is even worse
Well,
than the
even though
women's.
the whole thing is like once he got in there, I thought, well, now what?
Yeah.
You get in the door there.
I assume I don't even know if we have those.
there's not.
The men's room doesn't have them, only the women's restroom. And we put them in just because of Emily. So they weren't even there until she said something about it. Which is sad. Okay, so let me take some notes here, just to make sure that we're all good, because I can go back to MKSK and kind of say, hey, this is what we talked about. Larger event space. We want the driveway, right?
Yeah.
We want this This area.
Food truck close to the event
Driveway,
building.
food
Yeah,
truck,
look at that.
with the L-shaped buildings
event space.
with a patio.
Patio, yes.
Yeah, so
It's
that's
basically
like.
like
Yeah.
mine
This
is
pool,
supposed to be the drive.
We like the lawn in the middle,
Yes.
yes.
right? Lawn in the middle, including that splash
The
pad.
splash
And
pad
the
instead of the
splash
round
pad,
one.
In terms of, just out of curiosity, again,
Yes.
logistics.
Yeah, yeah.
Does it make sense to have a lawn in the middle like that in terms of maintenance?
I'm gonna say, I think it does for two reasons. One, it is really hot to sit on the pavement.
No, I agree.
Two, I think it's more cost efficient than to do the.
We could look at
Yeah.
a turf for that space.
I mean, I play devil's advocate. I would prefer to see a lawn. I just think, in terms of maintenance,
Yeah.
all the extra little pieces of lawn, what does that mean for our maintenance
I would-
team?
I
Doesn't,
would hope that with this space, we could get one of those robotic lawnmowers for the pool, like they've been putting it in Westerville.
Yeah.
oh,
Have you seen them?
Yes.
Oh my
They're
God.
adorable.
Yeah. If you go up
They are.
Cleveland,
seem like
where the festival was, the arts festival
Up there
was,
with the
at
white
that
barn.
barn,
Yeah.
they have them along there. You can see them along the side
oh,
of
you're
the road.
kidding, I've never
No.
seen
Just
it.
these
I
little,
see
like,
They
them
just
on
installed them
Cleveland
this
all the
year.
time.
Yeah.
and they just go.
Yeah.
No, because I've
They
been
look
looking
like
at
a-
Okay,
they
never
look like a
mind, I take
Roomba.
back what I said.
So it's this little device, and it has perimeters, and it will just go do what where the lawn is. There's several different options.
So it leaves the clippings on the ground, makes it messy.
It does now. I mean, oh.
Well, I think
We don't.
yeah, they do now too.
Some of them have.
We don't bag it.
Well, okay, but if you have a lawn in between two
know.
pools,
The grass
Yeah.
will end up in the.
Yeah.
But with that though, the way these work, your grass is not going to get that long. So like, because they mow like almost every
Yeah,
other
it's-
day. So you don't have like,
It's not big.
it's
right,
not
okay.
big clippings and stuff.
Like my yard.
Because you program
You
it.
have no argument for me, I'm just,
And that's the reason why I won't want it at my house. However, but it would work in this space.
yeah,
And then that way you won't have to worry
Okay.
about that.
no argument, I just think of weird things to.
No, that's
No,
a
it's
good
not a
thing
weird- that was a
because
good-
if we had a lot of that, it's going to get here.
Right.
So what happens with these
Poles.
I-beams?
So in this space, they're putting sunshades on them.
I think
In this space.
They're just there.
They're just
I
there.
think
they're
any
just
which
there.
way the sunshades are a good idea.
I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I brought this up 2 weeks ago and got my head chewed out. I felt like
Okay. What was
people's
the-
heads spun around because I asked.
What-
Other than just for posterity, if we're not attaching sunshades to these I-beams, why are we keeping them?
That was it. I think it was just for posterity.
yeah, I think they need to go.
I mean,
I can say this, that it might be the path of least resistance to let them be, for people to appease people that are going to be against changing their pool that they've had. Their,
Right, like a holdover.
yeah,
So
it's
much
for
is
nostalgia.
changing.
Yeah,
Right,
this is
so
just for
much is
nostalgia.
changing.
They hang
Oh
out
my
there
God.
for that reason.
if we're going to keep them,
I think we need to use it.
we need to utilize them.
Yeah.
So-
For them just to be
Why-
sticking up, just to stick up out is
No, that's what
actually
I- that's
dangerous.
what I definitely
That's
think
why I
like
would
this,
think
even
that
the
this
shades.
place-
The shades.
Regardless of the plan, like yeah, put the shades there.
I would use
Put
this.
the sails there.
Yeah, so that we can utilize them.
Yeah, I definitely would put shades in, and however many we
I'm
need
with
to
you.
leave the shades in.
If they're going to be like this, then
I mean, they're
it's a way.
rusty.
Yeah.
They're dangerous.
They would strip. They would.
Yeah,
I
they can be
understand. No,
repainted.
I
Yeah.
understand that, but again, it's an extra thing to maintain. I'm looking for simple, right?
Yeah.
Simple
Yeah.
It's an
I
get
extra
it.
thing to maintain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
see
if
what
they're
you're
just
saying.
sticking up to stick up and there's not enough space to put, like here, we don't really have enough per se to use
Correct.
the shade sails. Here you do.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's
And-
the only space really. out of
right,
all of
but if
them.
we're talking about putting the bathhouse in the event building
Yep.
here, then there is no space.
Right, because that would look more like, that configuration, just plop it here, would do the same thing. It would cut off,
Right.
yeah.
Why can't we put this L-shaped building right here? Why can't it still be there? I don't understand why it can't still be there.
It might actually still work. Well, it depends how big you make this building.
I said I want it big.
Yeah. No, I think if
But
you
I mean,
go,
if you shift
if you
it back
double,
and over,
yeah, if you double that size of it, it would still have to be pushed over in order to get this
Even
food truck
keeping-
space in.
Even keeping one of them would be, I think, okay. I don't know.
We could keep them out.
Well, that's what I was thinking about this. If
I mean,
they
put the
really
shades
wanted
out
them,
front.
yeah, you can just keep
Yeah.
it out here and then keep this part and then shift this over to make it bigger.
We could keep the
I
front
mean, I
ones
would
and
see
not
using the front ones to
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of as part of the entryway for
Yeah.
posterity.
Yeah.
But these two sitting up in the
No.
for
Right.
nothing, I
It
just
doesn't do any good. Yeah. Plus, I think they'd still have that giant concrete round part.
Oh, you're looking at
She's looking at
you're looking at
one.
toilet, yeah.
Yeah.
She's looking at option 1.
I'm just well.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was looking at option. I'm looking at
No,
option
we-
2
yeah,
and
we're-
3. So I'm
we're
like,
looking
I don't
at
understand what
the
you're
one
doing.
Option
Option
3 has the
space.
same front
Yeah.
entrance. Is what she's talking about.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe not the tall ones, but leave the front ones.
Well, it depends how the
The
inside is
building.
set up and how
Yeah.
the buildings are set up.
Okay.
If we have this big green area where the I-beams currently are to put up the shade sails, then yeah, I think that's great because we're utilizing them. But if we end up having something where there's only, 2 beams, where there really is nothing,
See, I was looking at that.
There.
I'm looking at option 3 where
Yeah.
those,
option 3 if you left
At least 3 of
at
them.
least
right?
3 of them in there, whatever, and then you could do
You could do shade.
you could
Do
do shade
2,
there.
but it's still a tiny area.
so.
I guess what
Yeah.
what
You could
is that area used for with those sunshades? Is it
Hang it
gonna
out.
be our lawn chairs going under there?
I was thinking take all this cement where they have all these tables across the concrete everywhere
And put some of them.
and put them back.
Yeah.
If you had this bigger. If you had the bigger space. I don't know.
Which one? I'm sorry. I think the squares are chases is what I'm thinking these are. I think these are lawn chairs.
Yeah, I'm not looking at I don't have one out. I'm looking
think-
I'm looking at 3 and 2 and 3.
Here's one.
So 2's got these 3 of them across.
There's the.
That existing, so like like this one, the existing baby pool, whatever.
You're talking about
On
this
3.
area.
She's on 3. Yep.
This is 3.
Yep.
Would we need to keep the existing baby pool
See, these-
section not altogether anymore either?
These tables make no sense to me because
Yeah, I don't.
they're so far away from the concession area.
Right.
Like I think you put the tables in front of the concession area.
Yeah.
Which is which I like here and 2. Because this is where you eat.
But I think this is doable because the way the pool is facing. If you face that pool the way you like it this way, you're taking up that room.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be able to put the table.
I also
if
question how
you-
many tables we're going to
But-
because I can see at Highlands,
Yeah.
I think they probably have, what,
Not many.
not many, and there's not many. I mean, but generally people get through the concession and they go
And they
back
go
to their,
back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
they go sit down.
Yeah.
But if we did flip this and
You
we had
could
enough
put tables
room,
or
you
you
could
could
put the
put
tables
tables in
underneath
here.
those shades
Yeah.
like we
Yeah,
do
the
now.
Those are just people
So-
setting up for the day.
However,
with the
I'll
shade.
tell you,
Yeah, over there.
I'm not a big fan of the tables being in the grass because the chairs sink. I just feel like they and I understand John's point is that if you spill food,
Right.
it doesn't matter if it's in the grass. But every time I sit in those chairs and
You
that,
sink.
especially if it's been wet. And I thought maybe it was the old chairs because they didn't have the little stoppers on the feet anymore. But these new chairs have them, and I'm still sinking.
Well, I mean, I still think if we go back and make this area bigger, you can make the patio bigger.
Very good.
Yeah.
And you could put the tables
Tables
on the
there.
patio.
Right.
Sure.
And that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So concession, patio, is
Yeah,
where
that's-
you eat.
Yeah, that's a.
Said Highlands, you've been there. It's only got
Yeah.
that real small little side
It's got
area
like what,
between
half
there.
a dozen tables maybe?
Yeah, maybe. Like, and you really don't know that it's even there. But and that's, like
we
teenage
have a lazy
kids thinking
river
they're
like
cool hanging out
Highlands?
together.
I
What?
said, can we have a lazy river like Highlands?
Somebody was talking about that in the pool today.
Everybody loves the lazy river.
I love
Yes,
it.
but it would be an adult only. I don't want kids
Oh my god.
diving around me, splashing.
Come on.
No, I'm serious. No, I'm not joking, actually.
I know you're not joking, but
I do.
that's
I'm
not-
not gonna lie. 15 minutes at breaks at Highlands when that you. the
Y'all would be
adults-
just going around the lazy river looking at the saddest
Can I tell you
faces.
something?
Staring at,
No,
like,
listen.
as you
Listen,
got on your
no.
river raft,
Listen, 2
you're just
weeks
like,
ago,
all these sour faced little kids that
2
can't get
weeks
in.
ago, I was at Highlands and it was gray and there was nobody there for
I'm sure. it
Zev's
was-
friend's birthday party. I sat in the lazy river for almost 2 hours and didn't do a darn thing but float around with no kids bothering me.
Oh, that's
It was
great.
the best thing ever.
It is.
It looks like we do have some room back here.
Yeah, we could just do it around the whole periphery
I know.
of,
Oh my gosh, that'd be so funny.
I would-
and then you could have a pull up, like you could just stop from the lazy river,
yeah.
just
We could
stop
have a little
over at the
sandbar.
concession,
Little sandbar.
fill me up,
Yeah. Yeah, because it needs to
That'll be
be
the next phase.
potty. Yeah,
Yeah, that'll
phase
be
two.
phase two.
Phase two. You can jump out,
We'll give
jump in
everyone
the bathroom, grab your
spoons and
drink,
we'll
and jump
say-
back in. It's amazing.
Say, we have to dig it ourselves. Here's your spoon. Save money by digging our own.
No, we can dig it ourselves
Don't
when we
say
have that
so.
tractor.
I'll do it.
And
I'll
also,
rent.
we can, I mean,
I'll rent whatever I need
square
to.
footage of like the pool equipment building, do we need it that big? What are we actually gonna put in there?
Yeah,
You know, we could also cut down on that building if need be and to make this area bigger without
Right.
Yeah.
costing
I think
more.
I think the we have to make sure that we have storage for everything out here. So that would be, you know, besides the bathrooms, you know, where else can we store stuff?
Sure, but it's just, I guess
Well,
the
if we
size.
also, if this pool equipment was big enough and we have restrooms, they can use those for storage as well.
Yes. Okay. I want to make sure I have all the notes.
Okay.
So larger event space, driveway, food truck by event space.
Correct.
Patio is a yes, but we want to
Extend it.
see if we can attach it closer to the concession stand, make it kind of one piece. Is that right? Or no?
Just
We just
the
want the
event building.
tables there.
I mean, it's already close to concession. I'd
Yeah.
like to see it bigger,
Bigger.
Just bigger.
Okay.
and so that the tables can
So it-
be on on the patio.
Yeah, so this is the length of the event building.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I have larger event building.
Yeah.
Is that then where all the tables would go?
Yeah.
So if there was an event there,
You could,
the other, the regular people would be cut off from. Now, I don't know how many of our tables are really even used, but
No, I think we'd have
do we
for
have
an event.
separate
There would
tables
be
for
well.
other people.
It depends what the event is. If the event is using the pool, it's probably an after hours type thing,
Okay.
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Birthday.
Birthdays, maybe not.
Yeah, you're right. But we can have tables inside the event space.
Right.
Right.
I just didn't know if all the outside tables were contained on the patio, if that was something that is separated during an event that's using that space. If we needed
Right.
to have a few tables that were available outside of that. I don't know if we do,
Yeah,
but
I mean, we could always, you could always throw a couple tables somewhere else outside just in case you're not.
because again, I don't feel like too many people
For concession
use
stands,
them
I
for
don't think they
concessions
know.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know
nothing
that
else
we
they-
would need more than a couple.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't disagree.
I don't know.
What else? We definitely want stairs for
The lap pool.
the lap pool.
Oh, yeah, this one has the stairs in it.
And then we want the lawn to
got-
separate
I got the lawn in the middle.
with a splash pad.
Yep.
We
The
want to
slot.
flip.
Yep. I got dive closer to baby pool, turn dive and lap pool.
Yeah, so that we can cut that off.
Yep. And then slide
And then-
towards the elementary school.
Like in option 3.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anything else? I put beams on here. Not sure on the beams.
Well, it depends on how this lays out.
Right, depending on this bathhouse event
Yeah.
building.
And with no extra trees,
Right.
so that can be removed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that would come with the bidding process. So.
We already have. The parking lot is going to be part of Woodley
Yeah.
or
Valley.
Valley Road.
Yep.
So we don't have to worry about that cost.
Correct.
Yeah, I highlighted what we could cut out in a lot of
And
it.
then
What? How much says?
So for the asphalt parking, I don't know if the concrete buff wash finished, is that finished, is that that's for the pool deck?
I
I'm
think
assuming.
so. I think it's a cleaning
And then
process.
deck draining there, so you're looking at $318,000 just for the
Parking lot.
parking lot out. Landscaping, they've got, landscaping got 160,000 there. Definitely can trim a lot of fat on that one.
It was 600 for the parking lot, right? 638?
That's the total, but that's including the deck drainage and concrete, so.
Okay,
The
You're
deck
looking about-
drainage is gonna be for the pool.
Like I said, about 320 there.
okay.
The fencing, I had questions about the fencing in two of these. In one of these, the fencing includes, it includes the pool equipment thing, and the other one goes all the way around it.
Right,
We could keep the old fencing, like you said, and paint it and
right.
add on as needed. So I think we could cut costs on some of the fencing.
And they also put a 7-foot high fence.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure our village code says we can't go above 6.
6
so-
feet, it does.
Not that we can't get a variance for the pool, but
Oh, the
Even for a
grass,
pool?
Yeah.
It's
I
across
think
the
it's 6
board.
feet. I think that's, like, we have a fence, but
It's
ours is what?
6 foot. As high as you could go.
Yeah.
Okay.
We already know that most of this furnishings is gonna go, maybe not probably the umbrella with stands would need to stay. That's 1,800, but the rest of it could go, right? That's
Is an
100.
umbrella with a stand cost $900?
Those are gigantic.
Oh, the
umbrellas,
gigantic
yes,
ones, okay.
Because let me see. Yeah, there's 2 of them on there,
Okay.
so they're $900 each. That actually doesn't seem like a bad price for those.
Okay.
What?
And if we weren't replacing our current pool, I'd probably see if we could get some.
So the splash pad, the splash pad
198.
priced out here is for the 990. So
Is
you
it?
cut that into a third. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what it says?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
So what is the cost of life?
So it's 100,000 instead
Yeah,
of 100.
that's it.
Yeah.
That's a $98,000 savings. Just trying to see how much we've trimmed off of this.
So
yeah,
if-
that would
if the
drop down to
lifeguard stands included with the pool
66,000 for
cost?
that.
Do you see them on
I
here?
don't see them on here.
The what?
Lifeguard
Lifeguard.
stands.
Which, at other pools and at every major, like Universal,
Well, it says pool
Disney,
safe. Sorry.
they don't sit. You have to walk up and down. So that you're more active. So
Well, they've got. You have to sit up for. I would think for just the angle to see down into the pool.
I guess
that's
the
why they
question we need to
don't.
figure out.
Because you have better because they have a section they do, and it's the only section they scan it the whole time. But
I think we
that's
need
why
to-
I was looking because there's no
stands.
seats or stands in
Yeah,
this
but at
price.
Disney, there's a lot more people in the
No,
pool.
I'm just saying. I didn't know how they
Yeah.
were.
But I think it probably falls under 17, where it says pool
Pool
safety and
okay.
accessibility equipment.
Yeah.
You're talking $15,000.
They
That's
could find.
probably where it
Probably
falls.
would be.
Okay.
Yeah.
The portable
Oh.
aquatic lift.
There is a lift.
That
in
is
there.
also, I was gonna say, I don't know how that works, but I think that I think the only way that you would need that would be if you didn't have the stairs to get into the lap pool.
Okay.
Cause they do have one at Highlands and there are
Okay.
only ladders there, so I think you could eliminate the lift.
I just realized that the
You probably
slide
still need the lift.
is separate.
If somebody is wheelchair bound and they can't walk but they want to swim, you have to use like a Hoyer lift or something like that to get them in and out.
The only pool I've seen lifted is Highlands, but I don't.
We probably do have to have it.
If it's $7,500,
It's not
it
it's not that big of
make or
a.
break.
But I
deal.
did just notice that the solid complex
Yeah.
is separate and it's 350,000.
I'm sorry, what?
The
what?
slides
The
are
slides.
not part of the pool. It's a separate line item. It's number 14.
Mm-hmm.
It's 350. That does include 2 slides though. My understanding is the cost of the tower and a slide is if you're gonna build a tower, you're gonna build it for 2. But you could put 1 slide in and add the second one later. And that cost is not that expensive to add the second slide. Because you've already have the pump going there and you already have the tower. You're basically just getting the slide materials.
So essentially you got the option of having like a JC slide or the like Highland slide where Highlands has the two, JC just has the loopy
Yeah.
one.
So we could technically just put one slide in and then add
We could,
another later.
we could put one and add a second one later.
Okay.
Yeah, you can.
Well, for initial cost, let's just put one in.
Well, I don't know what one would cost, but compared, but
I would just say half of that.
there's a lot of cost of getting rid of stuff.
If you get rid of it, it's zero.
Oh, they have 75,000 in site demo.
Maybe we can find someone to,
Bulldoze it all. I feel like the community's built that. It is on. The community built it. Maybe the community can tear it apart.
Oh man. Alright, so what's our next plan for our next?
Well, I need to go back to NKSK with what we've talked about.
Okay.
we need to do some site visits.
Yeah.
We need to do
Decide.
some site visits. So again, I was thinking Saturday mornings before their pools open.
Okay.
I would imagine those pools open probably at 11, 12 o'clock like ours does. So does that work for y'all? You available Saturday
work.
morning? So let me figure out what
That's what I
pools
did
we can
Friday
get
night.
to. And I'll get them set up.
Which pools are we looking at checking out?
I don't know. I need to figure out which ones they have again. I know
Yeah, I
they
wrote a
have.
couple.
Which
down.
ones they specifically? have
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I want to see what they've done.
I thought that you had printed those off, that presentation, on a piece of paper, because it showed the pool.
Oh, I probably do have it somewhere.
I
do
thought you
have a
had
printed
printed those
copy.
off.
Yeah, I do have a printed copy somewhere. Okay. Cool. Thank you guys. Do we have a
thank you.
motion to dismiss?
Motion to
Motion to dismiss.
Thank you
A
guys.
second.
Thank you.